Do you know the differences between Rationel windows and Velfac windows? There are some big similarities and some key differences between the two products. So today we'll look at all of those and explore which one will be the best fit for your project. With the Rationel window systems, we've got a separate frame and sash arrangement with the opening sash in the traditional position within the frame. This gives a 93mm sightline from the edge of the frame to the glass. With the Velfac V200 window system, you've got a similar timber frame, but the aluminium sash has moved from within the frame to in front of the frame. This means that you've got then a 54mm distance from the edge of the frame to the glass. In the Rationel system, we've got 4 different profiles, all based on the same product platform. We've got Aura Plus, which has got square edges and a square aluminium glazing bead. And we've got Forma Plus, which has a profiled edge, so more traditional aesthetic, and a slightly concave external aluminium cladding. These variants also have timber versions without the aluminium cladding, so Forma to pair with Forma Plus and Aura to pair with Aura Plus. Looking now at the Rationel Forma Plus product, we've got again the aluminium clad timber frame and sash with a more traditional profiled edge and a concave external aluminium glazing bead. With the Rationel Aura Plus system, we've got a square frame profile and a squarer frame on the external aluminium. But again, the same product platform, so the same frame and sash combination. Here in the Yocker House showroom, we've got an example of Rationel Forma Plus right next to Aura Plus. So it's really easy to see the aesthetic differences. With Forma Plus, we've got the profiled internal timber, and the glazing beads are really slim, 23mm. With Aura Plus, we've got the square edge, a bit more contemporary, and a square glazing bead. This is 32mm. Looking at a Velfac V200 casement door now, we can see again the casement door system has the same 54mm frame section as the rest of the Velfac V200 window system. So this combination means that we can create facades with multiple different opening types, fixed or side hung or top hung or even doors, and they all have a consistent frame profile. Over here we've got an example of a Forma window, so without the aluminium cladding, which gives an even more traditional aesthetic than the aluminium clad timber versions. One of the subtle differences between Rationel and Velfac is that there's some very slight differences in performance levels. So Rationel, we can see that there's a little bit more wood in the general construction than the Velfac system, where there's a bit more aluminium. This means that the Velfac whole window U value is 0.82 and the Rationel whole window U value is 0.79. So if you're chasing that elusive U value performance, then Rationel is going to be slightly better for you. One area where Velfac and Rationel are similar is in the terminology that they use for the different operating styles. So looking here at a Velfac side hung window, we can see that when the window opens, the sash simply pivots around the hinges. The Rationel side hung window is the same kind of operation, where when you open it, it simply pivots around the hinges. The big difference between a Rationel side hung and a Velfac side hung is that with a Rationel side hung, you can see the hinges, whereas with a Velfac side hung, the hinges are concealed behind the sash. Both Rationel and Velfac have side guided functionality. So in a side guided window, as the window opens, it comes across sideways. The big advantage of this being that you can then clean the outside pane of the glass from the inside of the building. An added benefit with Rationel side guided windows though is that if you don't like the exposed hinges, on the side guided window the hinges are concealed. Looking now at a Rationel top guided window, top guided windows have 2 hinges on each side and a guide that means the sash, as it opens, it moves down. The Velfac top guided window is exactly the same operation as the Rationel top guided window, with a guide in the top of the hinge. Top guided windows in both systems are really useful for scenarios where you might have a kitchen worktop or a toilet perhaps that you have to reach over, so having a nice low handle is an advantage. The Velfac window handle is quite unique because the sash is in front of the frame, so the handle has to be a bit lower than usual, and it's a satin anodised finish. The Rationel window handle is a slightly shinier finish and operates in a similar way, but it's attached to the sash in a more traditional manner. The Rationel and Velfac brands are in the same family, so there are some common features. The frame profile is identical on the inside. They also both have the same finish options, so there's about 20 standard RAL colours available for both the inside and the outside. They both achieve building regulations Part Q, so secured by design for security, and around a 0.8 whole window U value for triple glazing. In summary, there are some important differences between the products, but also some areas of commonality. So choosing the right product for your project, aside from aesthetic considerations, often comes down to small details like size limits on certain products in the Velfac range compared to the Rationel range, and therefore we can build an offer based on what we think is the most appropriate for your project and the most economical solution.